Welcome. This video is part of a 12-month healing series hosted on YouTube. Each month focuses on a different layer of mind, body, spirit alignment. You're welcome to walk the whole year with us or simply take what you need today. Today we'll be talking about the identity you built to belong, and we will be journaling, so be sure you have a pen and a piece of paper nearby. There's a version of you that learned very early on how to belong. Not consciously, not strategically, but intelligently. That version paid attention. It noticed what was rewarded, what was ignored, what was discouraged, and what made life easier, and what made it harder. And slowly, without anyone announcing it, an identity began to form. An identity shaped less by who you were and more by who you needed to be. This is not a failure. This is human development. From a psychological standpoint, identity does not emerge in a vacuum. It forms in relationship. Human beings are wired for connection. Belonging is not a luxury, it's a survival need. So from early childhood onward, we adapt. We become capable, or responsible, or agreeable, or impressive, or strong, or invisible. Not because we are false, but because we are responsive. And many of the identities people later call their personality were once brilliant solutions to very real relational environments. This is why identity work must be done slowly. Because the parts of you that adapted were not trying to betray your truth, they were trying to protect it. Let's pause here. As you hear this, notice if any version of yourself comes to mind. A role you've played, a way you learned to be, a version of you that was praised or relied upon. Just notice, no analysis yet. As adults, many people experience a subtle tension they can't quite explain. They may feel competent but constrained. Successful, but strangely unseen. Capable, but tired in a way that rest doesn't fix. Often what they're feeling is the cost of an identity that no longer fits. But because the identity once worked, letting go of it can feel threatening. Because if I stop being the responsible one, the achiever, the helper, the strong one, who am I then? And will I still belong? This is why identity is one of the deepest layers of alignment work. It sits beneath habits, beneath goals, beneath behavior, and it cannot be changed through force. It must be understood. Let's bring some gentleness into this. I'd like you to open your journal or take your piece of paper and write down the following question. Who did I learn to be in order to belong? You can answer this now or come back to it later. Whenever you do, now or later, be sure to take your time. Write without editing. Write as if no one will ever read this. If you wish to write now, you may pause the video here. Many people discover patterns here. I learned to be successful so I wouldn't be dismissed. I learned to be easy so I wouldn't be a burden. I learned to be strong so no one would worry. I learned to achieve so I would matter. None of these are wrong, but they are not neutral. They shape how energy moves through your life. Identity-based behavior is incredibly powerful and incredibly exhausting. Because when identity is built around belonging, it must be constantly maintained. There's pressure to stay consistent, to keep delivering, to not disappoint. And over time, the nervous system begins to associate authenticity with risk. This is why many people don't feel free even when they are successful. They are still performing an identity. Let's pause again. As you think about the identity you wrote about, notice what happens in your body. Is there tightening, relief, sadness, pride? The body often tells the truth faster than the mind. From a developmental perspective, identity formed through adaptation is not a flaw. It is evidence of intelligence. But identity becomes limiting when it is mistaken for essence. You are not the role you played. You are the being who learned to play it. And that distinction matters. Because if you are the role, then changing feels like annihilation. But if you played the role, then evolution becomes possible. Let's deepen the inquiry. In your journal, please copy the following question. What did this identity protect me from? You may pause the video now if you wish to take time to answer. Otherwise, you can return to this at a later time. We were asking the question of what the identity protected you from. Was it rejection, chaos, disappointment, being seen too much or not enough? Protection always has a cost. The cost might be rest, spontaneity, joy, truth. But again, this is not about blame, it's about context. Many people resist this work because they fear it will invalidate their past. It doesn't. It honors it. You needed that identity once, but you may not need it in the same way now. And here's the part people rarely talk about. There's often grief here. Grief for the child or younger self who learned to perform instead of rest. Grief for the parts of you that were never fully expressed. Grief for the energy spent maintaining something that was never meant to be permanent. Grief is not regression, it is integration. Notice if any sadness arises. If it does, allow it to be there without explanation. That sadness is often a sign that something true is being acknowledged. As adults, many people say, I don't know who I am anymore, when often what they mean is, I'm outgrowing an identity that once kept me safe. That moment is not a crisis, it's a threshold. But thresholds are uncomfortable because you are no longer who you were and not yet who you are becoming. This is where reflection becomes essential, not to rush clarity, but to create space. Now it's time for our final journaling prompt for today. Please write down, who am I when I'm not performing, fixing, achieving, or proving? If you choose to answer now, please pause the video and resume once you have finished writing. You may not have an answer. That's okay. Write what you don't know. Uncertainty is not a problem here. It's an opening. The goal of this week is not to dismantle your identity. It is to loosen identification, to recognize that you are more than the daily roles that you learn to play, and to begin relating to yourself with curiosity rather than obligation. As we close, I want to offer you one simple integration practice for the rest of this week. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did I act from identity today, and where did I act from truth? No judgment, just noticing. Because the moment you can see the identity operating, you are no longer trapped inside it. And that awareness is not the end of belonging, it is the beginning of belonging to yourself.